to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that Justin Haley used to be called JJ Haley, but switched it back to Justin because he got too much comparison to JJ Yaley and it was very confusing? So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Fob Fan 101, with my good friends and co-hosts. Finally, get to say co-hosts, Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
Well, dude, Nasboys crew. I've never heard of that fact before. That is quite interesting. And yeah, we actually all three of us are here for once.
Yes, and Cam, aka Noticed underscore Cam.
Howdy, y'all.
So let's get down to talking about this weekend's races over at New Hampshire. It was a pretty interesting weekend, I'd say. We're gonna kick things off for once with the Cup race. What did you guys think of it?
Well, it was supposed to be Sunday. It rained out. We all know that. They started it on Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern. And New Hampshire, I'll be honest with y'all, New Hampshire used to be a good track. And I know a lot of people thought it was a horrible race weekend. I didn't mind the race. I did watch it. I watched it. In fact, I watched the entire thing, despite how crazy work's been lately. But I thought it was a decent race. Honestly, it was dominated by Trish Jr. But yeah, just a lot of surprises, honestly, because Bell was on the pole. I thought he would have won the race. I picked him to win the race, and he was doing pretty fine. If I'm correct, he led about like 4 or 5 laps. I thought he led more than that, maybe, but he ended up struggling. He fell back he fell down the leaderboard. At one point, I was like, "There's no way he's catching back up," and he did get his way back up there, but eventually wrecked. You know, I'll say more, but in a few. But one thing I'll definitely have to say about this track is it is so hard to pass, it seems, with this next gen car at this facility. And they're running so far up the track than they used to. They used to run just the inside lane back in the 90s and early 2000s. And then over the years, it seems like there's been an extra layer of grooves. And it's just I don't know. I feel like a lot of newer fans don't like the track just because it's hard to pass. There's not a lot of passing, and if there's going to be a wreck, it's because of a blown tire. So that's just my opinion on it. But what did y'all think of it? I thought that it was going to be hot and sweltering, and the crowd it looked pretty decent despite it being on a Monday.
I don't know. I think it was, I'm a lot of people where Christian said, a lot of people didn't think this is a good race weekend. I'm one of those people. I just thought it was kind of boring. There wasn't really a lot happening, and so I guess I'm someone that I have ADD, so when I don't have something constantly happening in my face, I think I get pretty like meh to it. So um, I didn't think this was the best race I've ever seen. Not the worst either, but it was pretty boring in my opinion. What do you think, Mike?
I thought the race was okay. It was better than some New Hampshire races that I've seen over the years. But I thought the first stage was really interesting. There was a lot of like three wide racing, and I was enjoying a lot of the battles going on through the track. And I was really hoping that the track would stay that way. But then unfortunately, during the second stage, they realized they were at New Hampshire. So they decided to kind of branch back out and like start pulling away. The race was mostly dominated by Martin Truex Jr. He led 254 of the 301 laps, which was insane to me because, obviously Truex is a great short track racer. And looking back on it, I should have picked him instead of Eric Almirola, but I decided to switch things up a little bit because, I get bored sometimes picking the same people. But
Yeah.
yeah, second and third stage were just ending of the race was pretty interesting. I liked watching Blaney and Logano all try to chase Truex down, even though they couldn't, which was unfortunate. But speaking of Eric Almirola, he actually did do a pretty good job in the race.
Yeah.
It was really sad. He was up in the top five for most of the day because it was really hard to pass, which was one complaint I have, and that the top five mostly stayed the same for the majority of the race. There were again, passes, but I felt mid-pack racing was much better than the racing up in the front. But with Almirola, he was in the top 5 all day. He had a great stop for the beginning of stage 2, and then all of a sudden he blew his tire.
It looked like he took the hardest left turn.
Oh, the 10.
All the way up and into the wall goes the 10 of Eric Almirola. Caution comes out. Big damage on the right rear.
Clear down now. Caution's out. I don't know if that right rear tire is broken from the damage or the contact, or whether it was coming off the race car. Broke. Yeah, it's like
your right rear.
Like the right rear, like the right rear tire wheel was coming off of the car because of one of the lugs maybe not tight.
Almirola's wasn't tight.
So that was very unfortunate, and I feel bad for you, Christian. I know you're an Eric fan, and I wanted to see Eric get some redemption, and I wanted to get my pick right, but nope, it just wasn't having it. So sucks for Eric, but you know, Truex, he ran a great race, and it was cool to finally see him get a lobster.
Lobster. He bit the claw of the lobster. I thought that was kind of weird, but
Yesterday, maybe he come loose.
There you go, Martin!
Where do you come up with this stuff? No Truex don't have lobster phobia.
Yeah, Truex ready.
Hoist the lobster high in the air for the Crayon 301. All right, you ready? Here we go. High, right up high.
Oh, he's biting the claw. That could be the new tradition.
But, anyways, lobster does taste pretty good, and a couple drivers that did not have good races, like Eric there towards the end, he kind of, we know what happens will to solve. But I thought that Kyle Busch would have been more of a contender, but I saw this stat that like the last 3 of 4 races that he's been at New Hampshire, he's finished outside of the top 30, and he ended up sure enough finishing last after wrecking. Corey LaJoie was having a tough time out there too. He hit the ball a couple times. I know Noah Gregson wrecked. Couple other drivers. I think Cole Custer was another one. But dude, I'm not gonna lie. I had a feeling that most of the drivers on my fantasy team were going to do well. I mean, I had Blaney on there. I had Bell, Truex Jr., Keselowski, Almirola, Logano. And then when Almirola wrecked, I didn't have time to put Logano in there and put Eric in the garage. And because of that, I went from 1st to 7th, which was pretty sad. In our fantasy league, I thought I was going to win it. 1 week I was going to probably win it, and then there he goes. But, if I'm going to give it the racing rating, I'll probably give it a 4.5 out of 10. It wasn't bad, but, I mean, I've seen better New Hampshire races for sure.
I'm going to give it a 5.5, and my fantasy lineup was Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, and Eric Almirola, and I ended up finishing 3rd.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10.
That's more than I thought you were going to give. I thought you were going to give it like a 2.
I was gonna be generous because it wasn't the worst New Hampshire race, but it still was pretty bad.
So taking a look at what you guys had to say, 18% said great, 45% said good, 27% said meh/okay, and 10% said bad. Let's see. We have Cool Cars Weekly said tough to pass. Yes. Noah Live _06 said it was good. Love an MTJ victory, but every time he wins is pure domination. Monday Martin, I think. And the _motorsports _junkie says Truex W. Driver of the day, 2 votes for Martin, and for some reason 1 vote for Eric Jones. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that he doesn't deserve a vote. Obviously, he spun out.
And as he's trying to steer the car off the wall, there's tons of debris and marbles up there. And when he turns the car down across the racetrack to get back,
and then he rebounded his way to 11th. But Truex was just so dominant the entire race. Nobody could really stop him, so I have to give it to Truex.
Yeah, Truex is the I feel like I hope is the unanimous decision here. But I will say Jones started 30th, and he did have a lot to climb back from. Chase Briscoe started 27th to finish 10th. That's another big mover there, but Truex is like the obvious answer here.
Very good. I'm gonna say Truex. I thought he dominated. So
All right, and now for the Xfinity race, what did you guys think?
A lot of lagging going on here at their meeting, but you know, Toyota was just really strong this weekend. I mean, both of the races were dominated by Toyotas. I had a feeling Nemechek was going to run well, but considering he rarely wins back to back, I didn't think he was going to go back to back, and he did. So he ended up winning 137 of the 206 laps, and surprisingly, despite Toyota being dominant this weekend, mostly in the Cup, there was a lot of Chevys in the top 10. I mean, Josh Williams started 22nd, finished 8th. Jeff Burton started 20th, finished 7th. Algar in 7th, led a lot early on in the race. He led 27 laps and finished 6th. A lot of other Chevys, like one driver that I thought was pretty cool to see in the top 15. There's 2 of them. Alex Silvey in the 91 car finishing in 12th, and Patrick Emmerling in the 35 finishing 14th. But there was one, if I'm correct, there was one Cup driver in this race, and that was Austin Dillon. One thing I want to discuss with y'all that, is kind of controversial. There was a big restart pileup in middle, I think it was either stage 2 or the beginning of stage 3, where Nemechek just didn't go, it seemed like, and it just caused a big jam. And it ended up causing big wreck. And
ready. Back trigger green.
Oh, big stack of huge damage to 48 of Parker. Seven's involved as well. Justin Allgaier is involved in it.
Yeah, big wreck. This is one of those racetracks we see this a lot.
Ryan Sieg, we saw the 39, the 02 also. Blaine Perkins, Parker Kligerman.
Heavy damage to the 7, the 39, the 48.
There was, as I'm pretty sure Jeff Burton was talking about this on the broadcast. He's like, he's the control car. He doesn't, he chooses when to go. So it technically wasn't really his fault. But what did y'all think about that?
I mean, I don't really. I think they made it a bigger deal than what it was. I think it kind of just was something that happened. I don't really think it was on purpose or he did it intentionally. I think it just happened. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people were getting upset with him over that, and I don't think it was that big of a deal. He did go a little bit later than he probably should have, and a lot of the people didn't see him going. But I don't think it was too big of a deal. It was just one of those things that happens. And I think one commentator did say that, that stuff does happen, especially at that track.
Yeah. And then, to talk about the race, I thought it was all right. I thought it was an okay race. I could still feel the same about it. It was a little sluggish, but I don't think it was as bad. Sammy Smith got into the top 5. I don't know if we talked about that or not, but I thought that was like, I don't know. I feel like I don't really see him all the time. So, and Nemechek pretty much dominated this race. So that's really my only thoughts about it.
I thought it was okay. I liked a lot of the battles. I thought it was a little better than the Cup, and there were a little more battles. We saw Justin Allgaier. He looked like the car to beat, but then he got involved in that big wreck that we just talked about. And then otherwise, it was just okay. Nemechek looked really good after the wreck, and then it seemed like there were a lot more wrecks. Like we saw, I think Sam Mayer got into a wreck. We saw Riley Herbst. He
just gives him a shot in the rear bumper. I don't know how else to look at that.
Yeah, remember the one car is on 2 tires. I don't know. Everybody else had 4 tires. They're all old, but I don't know if that hurt the speed of the one car, and it was just a misjudging.
He got into a wreck with Austin Dillon and Austin Hill, but I mean, they didn't get
Yeah.
involved. But he kind of screwed himself over, came up on Austin. You probably saw it on the video. But yeah, Parker Retzlaff got into a wreck, caused overtime. So overall, it's just a decent race. I'd probably give this one maybe a 7.
I would probably give the Xfinity race. It was better than Cup. I don't know if it was better than Cup. It's kind of hard to say, but I'll give it a 4.5 as well.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Then so
It must have
yeah.
been a little too nice. So nobody actually said anything for the Xfinity race. Why? So I guess moving on to driver of the day, I am going to say probably John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, I would love to say Justin Allgaier. I picked him, and he's my favorite Xfinity driver, but he wrecked, so I can't. So John Hunter Nemechek.
Fair. Yeah, that I have to go with him as well.
Yep, Nemechek's got it. So
Well, I guess a couple things to mention real quick. The playoff standings as well. They are the same from what we did mention last episode, but Bubba Wallace and Michael McDowell are on the cutoff, and 1 point is separating McDowell from Suarez. Everybody else, I feel as though they're kind of in the must-win territory. But a little bit of what we mentioned last week was Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott, their struggles. Obviously, you guys know what's going on. Bowman had an injury. He was doing really well, and then he got a penalty. Elliott as well. He was doing decent the whole season. He got an injury, came back, got suspended. Now he's 23rd in points. These guys are in must-win territory, and they're running out of options to get into the playoffs. So we could see a shocker like Michael McDowell, maybe a AJ Allmendinger or a Ty Gibbs get into the playoffs. It's going to be very interesting, I feel like, these next few weeks.
If Ty Gibbs gets in the playoffs, then I'm sorry, but that's just a big disappointment.
Well, right now he's
Like,
41 points back of the cut line.
I know, but like, how is he that close to the cutoff line? Like, he's literally consistently pulling off 20-place finishes every week. I'm sorry, but like, I just don't understand the point system. That's probably because I'm a boomer and I don't understand the point system nowadays. So that's probably why. But like, I'm just surprised some of those guys are even close to the playoff cutoff line. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, I don't think Ty Gibbs is that bad, but I don't think he's going to make it. I
know,
it's
but I'm just saying, like, for real, like, if he makes the playoffs, like, that's just, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think on the cutoff right now, I say Chase Elliott's going to win at Watkins Glen, and then Bubba Wallace will make it on the cutoff at the moment. Maybe Suarez will squeak his way in too.
I think Suarez is going to make it in.
I would rather think, yeah, as Cam said, I think Suarez would get in over Bubba, but who knows? Anything could happen. Still got a couple races left before the playoffs, and honestly, Suarez has been. I thought he would be better this year. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he would have a ready.
I did too.
Last year, the last 2 years, I thought that he would win at least 1 or 2 times this year. It's not been the case so far. He's had some good runs, but also got taken out in other people's messes.
Right. He kind of went back to the first year of Trackhouse, I feel like.
The first year. Do you know they were with Ganassi, right?
Yes.
Hey, I was going to bring up this one thing. It's a little bit of a discussion topic, but there's a age limit thing that's been going around. I know Brad Keselowski and Tony Stewart were not too happy about the age limit, from what I understand. What do y'all think about that?
Okay, so, and me and Mike actually had to talk about this before the podcast a couple days ago. We read this about Tony Stewart and Brad Keselowski thinking they need to raise the age limit for drivers. So if you're in Truck Series, you can be 16 to drive, which is wild. And if you're in Cup, you're 18. And so me and Mike both agreed that we said if you're in Truck Series and you're 16, they should raise that up to 18. And if you want to be in the Cup Series, you have to be 21. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like I think there's a lot of potential for you to grow. You know, I still think you could be an amazing driver at 18 and be cup ready, but I don't think it makes sense. You know, logistically. Um, and then for you know, and then for them, the reason they said it was stupid, they're like, well, they just need personal development and growth, so they're not jerks and they don't make dumb decisions. Now here's the, and you know what I mean, and so it's just like to me, it's just like, well, I feel like it's a little hypocritical for you to say that because Tony Stewart's been an idiot before. I'm sorry, but he has.
Yeah.
I love Tony Stewart sometimes, but sometimes he's been an absolute jerk. So,
Oh,
and I'm talking about even when he was older. So I feel like it's not really appropriate for him to say that. And the reason why I say I do think it needs to be 21 is because when you're a teenager, it doesn't matter if you're 19, teenager, um, your brain hasn't fully developed all the way. So sometimes you make bad decisions in moments. So I understand that.
I mean, I think that what they said with character development, I feel like that might have needed to be worded a little bit better or explained a little bit better because there's obviously going to be really good, mature people when they're 18 years old that, you know, they have the mentality of like a 20 to 25-year-old. And there's going to be some 18-year-olds that, you know, are chumps. They're, you know, the typical stereotype of my generation. I'm 19. So they're going to be the, you know, the typical stereotype of the generation. But I think they should have worded that a lot better, like I mentioned. And I can understand why they would want to, why Tony and Brad are calling for the age limit. I can understand it. And a great point of that was that kid in the ARCA series that wrecked Dean Thompson, Sean, whatever his name is. He's 16 and he made a terrible decision because he was upset with Dean Thompson racing him hard. So I can understand why they want to raise the age limit. And another reason why I feel they should raise the age limit is so drivers have more time in the lower series. I feel like a lot of drivers get rushed up too fast and they end up making stupid decisions like with um you know Ty Gibbs for example. Sometimes you know he's lost his cool, he's wrecked people, you know, he's young. And I feel like if they get more time in the lower series to develop, they'll have more of a chance to be successful in the Cup Series.
Yeah. I don't have much of a different opinion than y'all, to be honest. You know, I can understand why they want an age limit. But I honestly don't really care. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really care if they have an age limit or not. I unless it's like a drastic one where they're like, oh, they could start at 14, then yeah, that's a problem. But all right, so I guess now we can move on to meme of the week. We got a couple ones here. The first entry is by Tony Stewart's helmet. We are just talking about Tony Stewart's helmet on Instagram. What thinks he's Chastain with Corey LaJoy. Next up, we got NASCAR memes IG. Sunday race, Marquez Jr. Monday race, Marquez Jr. Much different person, as you can see there in the picture. We got Michael Marutz again, the post-race fight. I'm referring to McDowell and Priest. And then
Welcome to the middle. In this corner, we have Ryan Preece, upset about being stuffed into the wall. And in this corner, we have Michael McDowell, who stuffed Preece into the wall. Get it on!
You ruined my race!
I ruined a lot of races.
I had a top 30 going.
I remember when I used to run back there.
You still run back there.
Not as frequently.
You hit me.
Yes, I did, and I am sorry.
It's not as fun when you apologize.
Eric Almirola's will, I say that. Well, prior to the end of stage 2, I'm gonna head out. So those are the meme submissions of this week. So, or not submissions, entries. What's it called? Nominees. So, who do y'all think deserves meme of the week? Honestly, it's been kind of a dry week with memes.
I gotta go with Michael Marutz. I love his shorts so much.
Biased.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
How about you, Cam?
I'm gonna agree.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
See, my thing is with Michael, like, don't get me wrong, I think he makes some funny shorts, but you know, I just think he's so like he can be funny, but at the same time, I don't take this the wrong way. If anyone clips this, just know, don't take this the wrong way. I like Michael Moritz. I think he's funny, and I watch his videos. He's pretty funny person, good person. But sometimes he can be a little annoying with some of his acts. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. And sometimes it's a little iffy to where I'm like, do I really want to watch this or not? Like, I don't. His shorts are kind of skeptical to me. Like, I don't like. I'll watch them, but I'm just like, is he going to scream at the top of his lungs and blast my ears, or what's he going to say? Is he going to cuss every 5 seconds? I don't know which one it's going to be. But I guess he wins meme of the week. 3 votes.
Yeah, I think
Internet.
he if anything, I think he can just be a little bit I don't know, sometimes like I think I kind of get what Christian's saying. But to me, I think the only problem with him that I have sometimes he's like kiddish with the way he acts, like in the thing. And I get it, right? I get it. You're acting as a person. I understand it, right? It's kind of what you got to do. But yeah, he can act a little like childish in the video, and I'm like, I just don't know if that's my type of thing.
I think sometimes his shorts can be a little goofy and like they're a little repetitive, but
Yeah.
I really like the shorts, especially that he does with Ty Gibbs. I think those are
Yeah.
so funny. But
Yeah,
I
because
do
Ty
think
Gibbs
that
is a leprechaun.
I do think he gets a little repetitive at times, but and he does use a lot of language, which is why we can't include a lot of his shorts. Like there's been a few funny ones that I would have loved to include and would have easily been a meme of the week nominee, but unfortunately he just sweared so much we couldn't include it. So anyway, that's besides the point. I love you, Michael. But I guess getting into this weekend's races over at Pocono. We got all 3 series racing. I think that this weekend the truck and Xfinity will be boring, but the Cup I feel will be interesting. That's based off what we saw last season. So for the truck race, I know Ross Chastain is racing, and I'm debating on going with him. I'm between him and Christian Eckes right now. I think I'm gonna go with Chastain. Why not?
You know what? I want to mention a couple of these stats real quick. Like, I think doesn't ARCA race on the same weekend as the Trucks Xfinity Cup too? Because usually ARCA races here as well.
I have no idea. I don't follow ARCA that much.
Okay. Well, if it is, ARCA's had 69 races at the track in their series history. But
Nice.
beside the point, for the truck series, last year's race was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed watching last year's race, and it was actually on Fox, a channel that I do have. Todd Bodine was in that race. He ended up wrecking early on, but there was one driver that I mentioned last year I thought was going to win, and he was strong, but he ended up falling flat on his face in the race. But if I'll be honest with y'all, it's either going to be a Toyota. It's just a matter of who the Toyota driver is going to be that's going to win this truck race. And I love Pocono, I love Turkey Triangle, as y'all know. But I'm debating whether to choose Ben Rose or Ty Majeski. But I'm going to go with Majeski to win the truck race.
You said who, Christian?
Majeski.
I'm sorry. What?
No, you're fine.
What about him?
Yes, who you picked?
I'm gonna go Heim.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
And for the Xfinity race, Chase Elliott is in this race, so I think I'm going to go with Chase Elliott.
Elliott is tempting to pick, but you know how he is. So he's just had a very off year, so I just don't see him winning. Dude, this is tough. For the Xfinity series, dude, I might have to let Cam go first. I can't think of anybody. Golly, I mean, we do have the entry list, but still.
I am gonna go with Elliott. I think even though he's not been the best, I think he's had his days where he's been better. So I think he will win. I don't know why. Someone's just telling me he is.
I'm going to go with either. Dude, this is tough. There's Ty Dillon's also in this race. There's 41 entries, by the way, for the 38 cars. I'm gonna say it's either going to be Cole Custer, Sam Mayer, or Daniel Hemrick. But I'm gonna go with Cole Custer.
All right, that's a solid pick. And for the Cup race, I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch. He wrecked out last week. And I think he'll win. He wrecked out last time at Pocono, but that was with those Gibbs cars. And I think that he'll do good this race with RCR, and I think he'll win it.
Wait, he wrecked out last year?
Did he wreck out? I forgot what happened to him. Or an
No,
engine
he got
problem.
disqualified. Him and Hamlin were 1-2, and they got disqualified.
Oh, wait. Apologies. That was when I was working at Sunday nights and hating my life at that time.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. That race last year, even though Elliott won, I thought it was so funny when Busch and Hamlin got disqualified because I was like in my car and I just get a phone call, right? Like I was about to like hit the road and I got a phone call. Hamlin and Busch are disqualified. I'm like, what? Like we haven't seen two drivers that were 1-2 get disqualified and sent all the way to the last positions in such a long time. I was just shocked. And Elliott ended up getting his 4th win of the year. Last year's race was amazing, I thought. I mean, a lot of people hate Pocono, but last year's race, the last couple of years' races at Pocono have not been that bad. So we'll see how this year's race will go. It'll be the 90th Cup Series race at the Tricky Triangle. And hopefully we'll have 10 more so we get to 100. Honestly, for me, I'm going to have to go with Joe Gibbs Racing driver because Truex has always been good here. I think Busch has been good here. He's obviously this year with RCR. Keselowski, I could see him doing well here as well, but I have to go with Denny Hamlin. He's obviously the driver at this track that's won here the most. It's active. And he got his first win at Pocono. He just seems to always get it done at this track. I wouldn't be surprised if he or Larson are running 1-2 towards the end. Larson almost won it a couple years ago and then blew a tire. So I think it's either going to be Hamlin or Larson. I think that there will be a couple wrecks, but mainly going, turn one, maybe a restart. But, I think it'll be a good race, and I hope that people's minds are changed about this track after watching Sunday.
Yeah, I think Larson's going to have it. I know last year he came in 5th, so I think he's inched closer every year, right? Or at least he's been close.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to pull it off. How about you, Mike?
Reddick's been pretty good here lately too. I wouldn't be surprised if Reddick runs well.
I think Suarez is a dark horse pick, and another dark horse pick I'd like to mention is Eric Jones.
Oh, that'd be cool to see Eric Jones win at Pocono. 43 won the first race at Pocono Raceway. That fact there. He won the first race there in 74.
Him and Legacy really need a rebound for real. But I can't believe I forgot that Hamlin and Busch got disqualified because I remember how many people were criticizing Kyle Busch. I remember all the stupid jokes that Chase Elliott was going to give the trophy to Denny Hamlin. And I remember being at work and I looked at Instagram and seeing them both getting disqualified and jumping for joy. So that's going to wrap this episode up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Yeah.
You want me calling night. You wanted what I think. All these women lie. Push me to the brink.